Guitarists at home, welcome back. This is a special episode today. You saw in episode number 4 a couple brief shots of my Hawaiian Belle mystery guitar. This thing I got for $85. It might be 84 years old, and I'll tell you the case certainly seems 84 years old. It's got leather around the edge, some sort of leather or fake leather on the top, and then on the back it's just a disaster where it feels like cardboard or suede or leather, some freaky combination of extremely old, frail materials. Remarkably, the case is still alive, and that's good enough for me for an 84-year-old case. Let's open this bad boy up and see what the actual guitar looks like. You may have seen it already, you may not have. It's pretty. It has artwork of a Hawaiian lady's face and some flowers. It's a small, like 3/4 size Parlor, and it is in the worst shape of any guitar I've ever seen. I got it on Kijiji, which is like our local online thing, and in the photos it didn't look bad, and I made an offer and they accepted $85. I figured I'll pay $1 a year, and if it sucks I'll hang it on my wall. I looked at it really quick and I was like, screw it, here's the money and I'll take that guitar and see what happens. As it turns out, I'm pretty pleased overall with it. It's got a decent fretboard that I can work with, a couple round frets, a couple dead looking frets, but doesn't really matter too much. The bridge is still attached, the neck is still attached. It's got the original wooden bridge pins that are like cryptic, ancient, old, I don't even know what to call them. They were the most painful thing I've ever tried to take out of a guitar. I couldn't even believe it. It's got popsicle sticks all glued through it. I have no idea what happened with this, but I'll tell you, there was this one time I was playing my guitar down by the water, and this guy was like, my guitar's got all kinds of cracks in it, and blah blah blah, asking me questions, and I was like, man, I don't know much about that stuff. I would personally just like glue some popsicle sticks in it and just hope it holds together. And I swear, maybe that dude did the work on this and then sold it to somebody else, and they sold it to me, because it's covered in super glue and popsicle sticks and it looks like an absolute disaster. But it's sturdy, which is surprising. You can see like just how many cracks and how much glue there is everywhere, but the whole thing is together, and that's all I can say. Didn't feel like it was gonna fall apart. Just feels like it wants to spontaneously combust. Be afraid to strike any flame near this bad boy right now. It'd be like a quick pile of ash, very quick. It's actually probably like 1.5 pounds the entire guitar when I got it, which is insane. There's a crack around the neck, but the neck itself is really well secured. There's no movements or anything. It's a really thick, chunky old neck too. I kind of panned over it, and I'm definitely pleased with that piece of wood. And I can't say if this is accurate or not, but inside the case there's this little thing. It says Hawaiian Belle, early acoustic by Harmony Guitars in Chicago. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that or not. It's just some piece of cardboard with some paper glued to it. It's certainly not authentic information. I showed also what looks like a hilarious or thread or shoelace that somebody used as a strap. I don't know what to call it, but that's what they had as the strap. I like the colors. I think I'll actually use it on the guitar if I ever require a strap. I'm keeping it. Yeah, so I think the guitar is pretty, and it's also pretty dirty, so I'm gonna have to clean this thing real well. Now, what happens is I go ahead in the VO and I rip everything apart and I clean the guitar, and then I give up. Yes, that is what happens. I give up. I realize I do not have the skills Well, maybe I have the skills, but I've never done it, so I don't have the skill. I don't want to mess around on this and just rip the back off it and take all those popsicle sticks out. But what I can do is clean it really, really well, take everything apart, replace parts that I can, and turn it into something that makes music again and give it a second chance at life. Now here are the bridge pins. These things, I swear, they're like so dry and yet so moist. I don't know how a combination of things like this even occurs, but it's like the frailest, dustiest, wettest catastrophe I've ever handled. And I dare not put them back in the guitar. I think they're really cool. I'm just going to save them. And I'll take the old... In my little guitar lunchbox there with the Power Rangers, I've always had all the old parts from guitars that you might need on the fly. Like if you lose a bridge pin into the ocean or something playing by the beach. Well, there's bridge pins in there. So I'm just going to take the 6 black pins that I kept from my Yamaha FG820, and I'm just going to use them in this disaster of a bridge. I mean, the bridge is still attached. It's so gnarly. And I don't have the time or the energy on this guitar for that. So I'm just taking all these pins and saving them, and I'll tell you, these things were so difficult to get out. I know the strings look new, but I don't know if like the person just restrung it, or I don't know. I can't imagine them getting those things in and out, because I struggled, and I've got super strong fingers. The killer was my string winder pin puller didn't actually fit over these super old ancient strings. So even when I got frustrated, I really wanted to use my fingers and get them all out. I got frustrated. I was like, screw it, I'm going to use the pin puller and risk it. But it wouldn't even fit. So I just was like, am I going crazy? No. I'm not going crazy. The pin size is never gonna fit on that guitar, and so I had to go back with my fingers and rip it all apart, and what a painful exercise that was. I'll tell you, sore fingers at the end of this. And then the bridge, as I mentioned before, is this hysterical nightmare. So all the strings weren't even actually held by the pins. They were just held by physics and friction and these like saw marks that the strings have made through the bridge in the duration of its life. So clearly this guitar has had like so much play. It's had a good life. It's fortunate to still be existing, I think. And I'm, like I said, I want to give it a second chance at life. But looking at what I got myself into here with my 84 bucks, I'm just feeling like, no, not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna make it work. Force it to work by cleaning and doing hardly anything. That one last pin there really stuck in the guitar, and it looked like it had been on fire before, and I was like looking at it and thinking, man, who set the bridge pin on fire? And then finally when I got it out, it was like just some piece of wood somebody made. They obviously either broke or lost the original bridge pin, and then they literally carved this piece of wood to look like the others and set it on fire. I was like, holy shit, I was right. They literally burned it to make it look and match, but it didn't quite match. It was quite obvious to me that I thought it was just damaged heavily, but no. I mean, yes, that was heavily damaged by fire, but it wasn't original, so that doesn't count, or does it count? I don't know. What does it matter? What matters is I got them all out, and that lets me get the strings off and actually clean this thing up. I got this during COVID, so it was kind of like scary. I quarantined it for like all of 5 minutes before I felt like I have to just go and get into this guitar. And mind you, I cleaned everything and washed my hands and didn't touch my face and did all that good stuff. I was safe about it, if you will. Meow. string, A string, all strings. Look at that. It's just such a catastrophe. I don't want to make a new bridge. Then it's not an 84-year-old bridge, right? I just. So what I decided to do, classical strings, and tune down, and get one of those Jim Dunlop perfect nuts, and make it into a lap kind of Hawaiian slide deal. I don't know if any guitar of this like style has ever been manufactured on purpose, where it's like a 3/4 parlor body with a really shapely top due to physics and time, and nylon strings, slack tension tuned to like a C sharp, and then played with a glass slide. Don't know if anything's been made on purpose for this kind of style before, but I'll tell you, it sounds so Hawaiian, which is crazy. But with the slide and the nylon strings is kind of yuki and just soft and pretty, and yeah, I'm revealing the future, aren't I? I'm standing over the nut and the frets, and you may have noticed the nut was so worn because it's wood, that the strings are going into the fretboard, almost making that whole thing kind of like a wooden 0-fret catastrophe where the intonation was anywhere where it should be. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know the history of this guitar either, and if maybe it was always just supposed to be a slide guitar with a metal nut on it. Somebody restrung it, took the metal nut off, put on like steel strings or whatever, and just kind of killed it. I'll never really know unless somebody out there knows. If you know about this guitar, I would love your information. Tell me your facts. Share me your knowledge. Don't you hate when you're doing stuff and your guitar string pokes you like the little end of the string? They're so sharp. I pierced myself and I was like, oh god, I don't know who put these strings on here. I don't know where they came from. I poked myself with it and it just made me real nauseous. Makes me think like, I wish I had like guitar work gloves, but then I recall that I have actually tried to put gloves on my hand and do stuff with guitars, and no, you can't feel what you're doing, and when it's said and done, it just doesn't work for me. But this guitar polish works for me, and so does this lemon oil, and they're what I'm going to use to clean and clean and clean and clean and clean and clean this guitar. And yeah, it took a lot of cleaning, but the fretboard was actually surprisingly clean to start. I feel like the person who had it on Kijiji, and I bought it from them, I feel like they did clean it, but they didn't have all the right gear to really polish it and do the job to, I don't know, my standard? I don't know how long it sat in this case. Maybe they did clean it to my standard and it just sat for a month and got it even more dirty and they played it a bit. Because when I play my guitar for a month, I clean it every single time. You've seen how clean I can get it and how dirty I can get it. So that's all I can say about that. There's this weird stamp in here. I swear it says S36 or 5-36. You can see the daylight in the cracks and the popsicle sticks and the glue and just all the stuff going on in that mess. I don't want to deal with that. What I can say though is I put the guitar out in the fog multiple times because it was super dry, and I showered and then put it in with that humidity a couple times, and I made the guitar gain weight, so now it's like 4 pounds. It's still really sturdy. It's not doing anything crazy. I put the old nut off my Yamaha FG820 in where the wood nut was, and I saved the wood nut, and then I put a Jim Dunlop perfect thing. What is that thing called? I can't remember. It's just a perfect nut. Yeah, and that's actually what it's called, a perfect nut. So I got the perfect nut and the old nut from my Yamaha, and some super glue and some nylon strings, and I strung her up and I put the bridge pins from the Yamaha in because I had the old plastic ones left over. Didn't want to ruin the wooden ones just kind of screwing around seeing what was going to happen with the guitar doing this, and the result was magic. You'll have to check out part 2 where I pretty much just show a couple more shots of it as it stands today and then play you some songs so you can hear how lovely it sounds. 84 years worth of tone through this wood makes it sound 84 years good. Does that make sense? I don't know. But again, you can definitely see daylight through the guitar, and it's got a lot of issues, and all the weird things that have been done to it make it sound how it sounds, and how it sounds is really nice.
Thank you for watching today. I hope you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you again in the future for part 2 or a different video of guitar nonsense.
I need subscribers, please.